Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. You know, we all have those movies that we remember from when we were younger that we really enjoyed at the time, and then you watch them later on in life, you're like, oh man, this movie isn't quite as good as I remember. The last time I talked about a movie like that, it was My Science Project. I used to love that movie when I was young, watched it as an adult, realized it doesn't quite hold up. Like, it's not terrible, but it doesn't really hold up. Well, today's movie is one of those films that absolutely does not hold up, and honestly, I'm not sure why I ever liked it. Today, I'm talking about Rappin', starring Mario Van Peebles.
Yes, you went away, an underachiever, but now you're coming back a true believer.
Folks, listen. I thought I might actually enjoy rewatching Rappin' after so long, and all I can say is, it was an absolute chore to sit through this movie.
Golly gee, honey, can't you see he don't love you, come to me.
My wife and I live in South America, and I found myself working on my Spanish instead of actually paying attention to this movie about halfway through. And in case you didn't know, Rappin' is a film from Canon Pictures. You know Canon Pictures. I could do my next 30 videos strictly about Canon films from the 80s and not cover them all. They were really busy. In 84, they put out Breakin'. In 85, they put out Breakin' 2. And they also put out this garbage, Rappin'. You know, it's one of those movies where, you know, the producers only knew that hip hop and rap was popular at the time, and they were going to try to squeeze as much money out of it as possible. But as objectively bad as both Breakin' movies are, they're still a lot more rewatchable than Rappin'. Not to mention the far better soundtrack in those movies.
Open up, stuff it in, heat 'em up, wash it down. He's having a snack attack.
So for those of you that have either never heard of this movie or don't really remember what it was about, it's supposed to be a modern day retelling of Robin Hood. Only that part of the story isn't really fleshed out very well, and the main character's name is John Hood, and he also goes by Rappin' Hood instead of Robin Hood. So let's do a quick recap of the movie before I get into the thing that I like and all the things that I don't like. The film follows the story of John Hood. He's played by Mario Van Peebles, the young guy from Pittsburgh who's been recently released from prison. He's a talented rapper and dancer and dreams of making it big. Upon his return to the neighborhood, John finds himself caught in a conflict with a local gang member named Dwayne. Dwayne's also interested in John's girlfriend, Dixie. John tries to stay out of trouble, focus on music, but he becomes involved in a battle against a corrupt real estate developer who plans to evict the residents of the neighborhood to build a shopping mall. With the help of his friends and his talent for rapping, John organizes a community protest and uses his music to rally the neighborhood against the developer's plans.
You read, the day you face yourself in the mirror is the day you see yourself a lot clearer.
I mean, it's basically the plot of Breakin' 2, so really nothing special in that area. So does Rappin' have any redeeming qualities? Not really. I will say that the one good thing I can say about it is that my memory of it is way better than the movie itself. Also, I had completely forgotten that Kadeem Hardison and Eric LaSalle were also in this movie. Pre-Coming to America, Soul Glow, Eric LaSalle. Like seriously, if I ever meet that dude, I'm not going to ask him about ER, I'm not going to ask him about Coming to America, I'm going to ask him about Rappin'. He needs to answer for this.
Talking peace and a whole lot more. So here we stand, cool as can be. Put the wild thing in ICE.
So let's talk about what's bad about this movie. One, the story, the plot, the acting is not good at all. I think maybe Kadeem Hardison and Eric LaSalle might be the two best actors in the movie. And the guy who plays the real estate developer, I can't remember his name. Everyone else might as well be reading off cue cards or a robot or something. The soundtrack, in comparison to other movies of the day, like Breakin' or Beat Street, is truly subpar. The only song in this entire movie that I actually remember from my youth is Itchin' for a Scratch. And for whatever reason, Ice-T was in this movie too. Like, he was in everything back then for some reason. If historians are looking at our past like 1,000 years from now, they're gonna be like, man, this guy Ice-T must have been the biggest star on the planet in the early 80s. Not to mention all the scenes of our main character John rapping are overdubbed by Ice-T and Master G from Sugar Hill Gang. And it's fairly obvious that it's not Mario Van Peebles' voice. Oh, and his rhymes suck. I mean, I try to give the movie the benefit of the doubt. I know it came out in '85. I know that rap was a lot different back then. And I know that back then, I actually thought this movie was kind of hot. But now, no, it is absolutely difficult to watch. I can go back and watch Beat Street anytime. Crush Groove anytime. Hell, I can even watch Breaking 2 anytime. But this movie is just bad on all levels. Another thing, it feels like kind of an odd decision to have this movie take place in Pittsburgh. Like, I got nothing against Pittsburgh, but why? Like, you could have easily disguised the neighborhood that this entire movie takes place in to be someplace in New York. You'd never know. I mean, if you didn't see neon Steelers signs on the walls or posters of Pittsburgh, you'd have no idea what city this movie took place in. You could say it was anywhere. And Mario Van Peebles, oh my goodness. How is he so bad in this movie? Like, I'm not saying he's a great actor or anything like that, but geez, his acting, rapping, dancing, it's just really cringy in this movie. And speaking of cringy, I just wonder how the actors were able to keep straight faces during some of these scenes. It is really bad. There is one positive I forgot to mention. Leo O'Brien also stars in this movie. He plays John's younger brother. Leo would also star in my favorite movie of all time, The Last Dragon, that same year. So that's one other good thing. Anyway, if you want to waste an hour and a half, go on Tubi, check out Rappin', go ahead and get your little nostalgia fix in, and tell me how much you hated it or how much you still love it, or if you're indifferent to it. And if you've never seen it, hey, give it a shot. It might make for a really good laugh. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll be back soon.
The hell you doing in here?
I was just gonna.
All yours. Get up here. Bathroom, fool.